Hey there, movie enthusiasts! Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're taking a trip down memory lane to revisit a classic comedy from the 1980s, The Man with One Red Shoe. Released in 1985, The Man with One Red Shoe is a hilarious espionage comedy, starring none other than the charming Tom Hanks in one of his early leading roles. Directed by Stan Dragotti, the film is a remake of the French classic The Tall Blonde Man with One Black Shoe. It follows the misadventures of Richard Drew, a talented musician who gets entangled in a web of espionage when he becomes the unwitting target of a CIA surveillance operation. But what makes Richard stand out in the eyes of the CIA? Well, it's his peculiar choice of footwear, one red shoe amidst a sea of ordinary ones. In a case of mistaken identity, the CIA mistakenly believes Richard to be a spy, leading to a series of uproarious situations and misunderstandings. The film boasts an ensemble cast including the talented Dabney Coleman, Laurie Singer, and Jim Belushi, each bringing their own comedic flair to the table. From high-speed chases to slapstick comedy, The Man with One Red Shoe delivers laughs galore while keeping you on the edge of your seat. A man picked randomly out of a crowd is made the target of CIA surveillance and pursuit. Cooper, the deputy director of the CIA, wants to be the director. So he tries to make it appear that the director is corrupt so that he will resign or be removed. The director appears before a committee and asks for some time to prepare his defense. The director goes home and asks his man Brown to join him. He then shows Brown that Cooper is bugging him. That's when he decides to turn the tables on Cooper by feeding him some false information. And that information is that there's a man who might be able to clear him of the charges against him. Will be arriving at the airport, so he tells Brown to meet him. The director tells Brown to just pick someone who is arriving at the airport, thus making Cooper believe that he is the man who can help the director. Brown picks Richard because he is wearing mismatched shoes, one of them being red. So Cooper sets up surveillance on Richard and sends his femme fatale, Maddy, to come onto him and find out what he knows. While Maddy is playing, Richard actually falls for her. The Man with One Red Shoe is a bad case of burnout. Maybe it's me, maybe it's the people who made this movie. We both start with the same problem. Both of us have seen The Tall Blonde Man with One Black Shoe, the French comedy that inspired this Hollywood retread. The French movie is about a case of mistaken identity. The American movie is about the same case of mistaken identity. The French have a name for this phenomenon, déjà vu. So do we rip off? The movie begins with infighting at the Central Intelligence Agency. For reasons that need not concern us here, one faction at the CIA goes out to find a totally innocent bystander and shadow him as if he were a spy. Other factions at the agency fall for the trick and think he is a spy, which is very disconcerting for the guy. Meanwhile, the guy falls in love with one of the spies, a pretty blonde girl with two black shoes. Somebody must have thought this was a great idea for a movie. How else can we account for the talented cast that is sent on a forced march through this trek? The Man with the Red Shoe is played by Tom Hanks, who also was seen in Splash, where he fell in love with a tall blonde girl with one green tail. The supporting cast includes Dabney Coleman, Charles Durning, Jim Belushi, Carrie Fisher, and Ed Herman. They're all out of luck in this movie, which requires them to consistently and repeatedly do stupid and inexplicable things, for the simple reason that if any character in this movie had an IQ higher than his age, the plot would be figured out and the movie would be over. The Tall Blonde Man with One Black Shoe was not a very funny movie in the first place, but at least it was somebody's original inspiration. Like the Burt Reynolds remake of François Truffaut's The Man Who Loved Women. This movie failed to understand that the French originals were about more than plot. They were about attitude. In the French film, the hero had a sort of goofy, offbeat charm. Like the hero of all the Jacques Tati films, he was blissfully unaware of the chaos happening all around him. In the Red Shoe version, Hanks tries to actually deal with the craziness that surrounds him, and that's a fatal error. Likewise, in The Man Who Loved Women, the Burt Reynolds remake failed too. Understand that the promiscuous hero of the Truffaut film was a man with a problem, not a solution. Reviewing failed comedies is a thankless task. Rereading the paragraphs above, I see I've tried to use logic in order to explain what went wrong with the movie. My mistake, of course, is to assume that logic has anything to do with comedy. If The Man with One Red Shoe had been funny, it wouldn't have mattered that it was a witless remake. But it is not funny, and that, I guess, is that.